Konnichiwa and welcome everybody to Chrono Reviews. This time I'm going to review nothing less than Revoltech Vash the Stampede from the Battlegrounds Rumble movie. I know I've wanted this figure all the way back since the release, but I missed out on the release, and after that there was just a huge mess of new releases of figures and anime I've watched. So this figure sadly went forgotten until recently when I rewatched Dragon and realized I still want this figure. So I looked it up and ordered it. And here it is, Vash the Stampede from Revoltech Yamaguchi. So, what can I say? I finally have this in my hands and the box is nice. There is a lot of text. Vash Stampede, 150mm action figure from Dragon Battlegrounds Rumble. And yeah, there is articulation description. And on the back there are a lot of poses and all that. And it shows off different details on the figure. There's nice picture on the side, Vash the Stampede. And on the bottom there's also articulation description. So let's not delay this any further and let's open him up. Alright, here he is, Vash the Stampede, and as a start in the classic way of my reviews, let's start off with the articulation. This is my first actually anime Revoltech. I do have the Revoltech Aliens, and this one, just like them, are a little bit more, it's a little bit more wobbly or fiddly compared to Figmas. Figmas have more sturdy joints that are more, you post them like that, they stay like that. Revoltech are more a little bit more, you know, like this, sort of, it's hard to explain, and they are like clicking, the joints are clicking more, so I'm not exactly sure how to handle the joints without risking anything, but well, start off with the head that is, as far as I know, ball jointed, and the collar are slightly jointed as well to follow the movements. The torso are jointed, both here and here, so at the hips there are also joint, and the arms are ball jointed, and there are elbow joints and ball jointed hands, which can be removed just like the Figma ones. This one is a peg that loose quite easily. The same applies to this hand, I think, and the same joints apply to this one. And the legs are also ball jointed, and there are double knee joint and ball jointed feet. The double joint works like you can bend it at the bottom or at the top, so you can make, like, he can go down all the way on his knees like this. And there's also joints on all those clothing parts of his coat, so there are ball joints at each end, so they can flow all the way like up this and this, quite limitless. The only limit is if they are too loose and they will fall down. They seem to stick, they fall down if you push on them, but they seem to stick if you want them to for a pose on when you put him on the base and everything. Right, accessories. First off, there are the base, which seems to be this part, and this part is also part of the base, I think. And here is some scenery for him to stand on you can use. And I think this is a help part for poses and stand. And those I'm not entirely sure, but I think they are explained in the instructions. I will need to look that up before posing him. And there's also this part, which is some sort of effect on the ground for action poses that you can put him on. There's a peg here for his feet. And there is gun action flare. Like a pointer, I read on a written review on the net that this peg here is quite sensitive, so when you put this onto the nozzle of the gun, be careful to not break it. I will be very extra careful too. And that moves on to the point that here's his gun. So there's an optional hand for the gun. There's no loose gun, but there's a hand with the gun for this figure. And there's also this optional part for his machine gun that's built in. You can put onto the arm. There's also other optional hands. Here's a holding hand. I'm not sure entirely because this hand, there's no loose gun to hold. There is this hand, and there's of course a classic love and peace hand. And here's another holding hand for the other arm. I'm not entirely sure, but well, maybe it's for other accessories for Revoltechs. I'm not entirely sure. And here's two different faces, one with the sunglasses on and one more with him glaring to the side with the sunglasses down. And the figure itself he looks forward and looks a little bit more relaxed with the sunglasses down. And there is also this storage box, which may not fit in all the accessories, but it may fit some of them. And there's also this coin that I'm still not sure what it is for, but most Revoltechs or all Revoltechs have those. So let's get him posed up and see what I can do. Alright, here we have Vash posed up. It's quite a simple pose, but I realized it's a very wobbly figure, so it was hard to make any complicated poses. I need to do that a little bit more when I feel like trying something, you know. So I replaced the hand with the love and peace hand, or I realized, is it really love and peace? I think love and peace was like this, love and peace. But well, anyway, I also gave him his gun because that's iconic. I really need that. And I'm going to try some gunslinging poses at some point, especially when I get Wolfwood, which I want to get as well next when I'm getting a Revoltech. I did really like this figure overall. It was nice, detailed. It's a nice paint job. I forgot to mention that earlier, but the paint job is nice. There are no actual mistakes or anything. But the figure itself, it's like very wobbly in its joints. So that's my only gripe with the Revoltech. It's the posing are a bit hard because of the wobbly joints. So it's like more fluid, but it's flop. And the joints do not look as smooth as Figma. But overall, Revoltech have improved a lot on detail and accuracy since when I first saw Revoltech. My first Figma was actually a choice between Figma Saber and Revoltech Saber. And Figma won big time because it looked accurate, the joints were smooth. So that's my only complaint on Revoltechs actually, are the joints are a lot less smooth and wobbly compared to Figma. They're not as accurate as Figma either overall, but they have improved. And I really enjoyed this figure, and as a huge fan of Trigon, this is really nostalgic, both as a collector for missing out the release when it first came up, and I really wanted this one, and as a fan of the series and the movie that came out and was awesome. It was a real joy as a fan. But I can highly recommend this figure if you can put out with the flaws I just pointed out. So until next time, take care and sayonara!